Hey guys, welcome back. Oh my goodness, we have missed you guys. I have immensely missed you guys. It's been crazy. Like, there's just been so much going on, so many changes, and oh my goodness, I don't even know where to start from. So every day, no joke, every day for the past year or so, I've been like, I want to update our family. I want to update you guys on YouTube. I want to let you guys know what's going on, and all the things just keep happening. So today is really going to be a story time. For those of you that are familiar with us, welcome back. And for those of you that are new here, my name is Mary. Together with my husband and our kiddos, we are Joy Fam. So if you're interested in all things family, real estate, and just lifestyle in general, then please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button because you do not want to miss all the updates, everything that's been going on. For those of you that have been following us for a while, then you know that we had not posted anything in a little while, and this is going to be a quick update to tell you all the things, get you caught up, and bring you back into our lives, because seriously, we have missed you guys. We've missed your comments. We've missed all of your communication on social media, and we are just excited to share our lives with you and share the new adventures that we have going on with you. So I don't know if any of y'all have been able to guess already where we've been and what happened, but I think the last video we posted over a year ago, y'all. I think the last video that we posted was actually us like preparing for the winter freeze that was happening in Houston at that time. And now here we are. So we found out that we were expecting. And for those of you that know us, we were two kids, a boy and a girl, and we were done. So, but yeah. We found out that we were expecting, and it was a beautiful surprise. It was a big surprise. It was also a scary surprise because, you know, you just have all these things going on in life, and you have your own plans, and you have the direction that you're wanting to go. And then, you know, God surprises you, and God reminds you that He is fully in control of your life, and that whatever plans you think you have are nothing compared to the plans that He has for you. So I will say that is kind of like a culmination of everything that, you know, a big part of everything that has happened since the last time that we talked to you guys. So for those of you that follow us on social media, you probably remember me making a reel like 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago now, where like the wife, like I was surprising my husband. I was playing a fake voicemail, and it sounded like it was coming from a doctor's office, and they're like, yeah, go ahead and come in for your ultrasound. And my husband was so confused because it was like, yeah, we were definitely two and done. We were not having any more kids, guys. But yeah, be careful what kind of content you made, because it ended up being actually true. I was super duper pregnant, and I did not know at all until I was until I was entering into my second trimester of pregnancy, for those of you that are familiar with pregnancy. So I've been having headaches for essentially weeks and weeks and weeks. And I began to get worried because I was like, I don't usually get migraines or headaches or anything, and I wasn't sure what was going on. So I went to my primary care doctor, and my primary care doctor referred me to an ENT because I also had ringing in my ears. The ENT also had me go see my ophthalmologist just in case, you know, there's something going on with my eyes and that's what was causing my headaches. Or, you know, they didn't find anything with the ringing in my ear. So long story short, I had this slew of doctor's appointments, and then they didn't find anything. I even had to have a brain MRI at some point because it was like, what is going on here? I'm having these terrible headaches. Nothing is making it feel better. I've taken different medications. It's not helping, and no one's finding anything. So we went through with it. We had the brain MRI, and y'all, it was nothing. Like, I was scared to death to do that MRI because I didn't know what they were going to find, but I was so grateful when it turns out that there was nothing on the MRI. So I randomly just had my annual exam. What do you call it? Actually, no, it wasn't my annual exam. What happened? So I think one day I just decided that I was going to take a pregnancy test because, I later started having reflux, which was weird for me because I would eat dinner by like 5 p.m. and go to bed at 10 p.m. And even if I didn't eat anything spicy, I would be having reflux. And so I was like, something weird is going on. Let me just take this test amongst, while I was still going to the doctor's appointments and whatnot. So took the test, and y'all, I've never seen a test come back positive so quickly. It was crazy. I was literally in shock. Like, I'm going to put, I was in shock. It's so much in shock, and Dio wasn't home that day. He took the kids to Ori had taekwondo and Emmy had ballet class or something. And he took the kids to their classes. So I took a picture of the test and I sent it to him, and his response was literally, ha ha ha. And he was shocked, I was shocked, we were shocked, all the shocks, yeah. So, but somewhere in my mind, I was like, no, this can't be real because, no, this can't be real. There's another story behind, everyone has their whole fertility journey and whatnot. And so for us, it was like, no, this can't be real. So I go into my OB and they did all the things and all the exams and whatnot. And they're like, yeah, you're literally in the first week of your second trimester. Jaw dropped. Other than the headaches and then later having the acid reflux, I literally had no other symptoms. And those symptoms to me, my brain did not necessarily click and put those together that I may be pregnant or whatever it was. I was just busy with life, doing all the things, talking to you guys on YouTube. I have my corporate job. We have the kids, the wife thing. Life was just busy. And I just, completely missed that. And so that took me by huge surprise because, again, we have 1,000,001 things going on. And so it really did take me a minute to process all of that. And for those of you that are moms, that have had kids, that, are expecting now, I know everybody's journey is a little bit different. Some of you may be able to relate to that, but, that may be a story for another day if you want to hear about how I essentially unpacked that and all of that. So where have we been? What have we been doing? Did we add another member to the family? Did we move? Did we, there's just so many things, right? So we did add another member to the family, and she's absolutely perfect. We did end up moving. It's crazy, guys. It's crazy. And for the past year, we actually relocated from the Houston area, and we are now in the Dallas area, and we have loved it so far. So for those of you who do know us personally, you know that we are originally from the Dallas area and then ended up in San Antonio and ended up in Houston, and a lot of that was just, our jobs relocating us to those different areas. And then now, we're in Dallas. I never ever thought that I would be moving to Dallas. This wasn't even a part of the plan. For those that have seen our empty house tour, we loved our home. And if you haven't seen it, you want to go back and see that. For those of you who did see our empty house tour, you know that we loved our home. We put a lot of work into it. We put a lot of love into it. We physically did a lot of things to that home ourselves. So, what happened? Why did we move? Why did we decide to move? Well, that's why I had to tell y'all the expecting story first, because essentially it's all tied in together. So after we found out we were expecting, and we've got these million and one things going on all the time, round and round. We don't have we didn't have family around us in Houston, so it was just like me and Dio balancing everything that we do together and figuring things out together on our own, which, you know, a lot of families have to do that. You know how hard that is. And even for the single parents, like, hats off to you, seriously, because it's a lot. It's a lot. Even with having such a loving and a dedicated partner, it's still a lot of work. So God bless you and God give you strength. But so we found out that we're expecting our third baby, our little princess, and we were just like, so for me, just because at that time I was just so super career focused, and I'm also homeschooling the kids and doing all the things, it really took me a minute to wrap my mind around it. And it's okay. If there's someone else out there that's watching this video and then you find out that you're expecting and that's just not the track that you felt like your life was necessarily going, that's okay. It's okay to admit that to yourself. It's okay to say, I was surprised, because that's part of the processing of everything, and that's part of the preparing and getting ready. And so, I went through that process of processing of okay, this is going to be okay. I'm going to have to let some things go because I'm a very hands-on mom, and I like to do all the things with my kids, and I like to be very present in the things that they do. So, that was the biggest concern for me. It was that with career and YouTube and everything else that we had, our business and everything else that we had going on, I felt like I had just enough time to be fully present with my two kids. And so adding another kiddo to the picture, I wasn't sure how I was going to be able to divide my time. And I remember when I was speaking to a therapist who happened to be a Christian therapist who shared my faith, and she said to me, she goes, you've been walking this journey of life and feeling like you need to be in control of everything and you needed to be able to manage everything. But you keep forgetting that everything and who we are is really, it's God that's going to manage everything. So I had painted this picture for her where it was oh, in my mind, having two kids is just a perfect amount, because, when we go out, I can hold one here, and still be able to hold hands with my husband or something like that. Me and my husband can each hold a kid and still be able to hold hands. And she said, God's holding all of you. God's got y'all. Stop worrying about, I only have two hands and I can only hold two kids with my two hands. God has got you. And in that moment, a light bulb went off in my head of it's gonna be okay. My concern, we actually wanted a big family. Dia always wanted 5 kids. Story for another day. But we actually really wanted a big family, but our biggest concern has always been we want to be able to be fully present, whether it's providing and being present with them at the same time. We don't want to be able to provide, but then we're not present. So we both are very conscious of the fact that we want to be fully present, whether it's at sporting events, whether it's, they're drawing a picture at home and they want to show it to us, those sort of things. We really, really want to be there for our kids, and we want to be able to guide them with the direction of God and all the things. And so that was the concern. And so once my therapist said that, a light bulb really went off in my head. And you guys know we were coming off of COVID and things opening back up. Do you go to places? Do you not go to places? And that really pushed me to go back to church in person and start having that fellowship and start having that, just having that, being surrounded by that fellowship. I really needed that. A lot of great things and a lot of amazing things have come out definitely in regards to all of this. I don't want y'all thinking oh my God, she didn't want her baby. No, it's not that. A child is always a blessing from God, but it's okay to say that, I was surprised. And God had to remind me that like he's got me. Like I don't have to take care of all these things on my own. So along that journey, you know, Daya and I, we've been talking for a while of like, okay, we're in Houston now. Are we going to be in Houston forever? And it was in the same thing, you know, when we were in San Antonio or when we were in Dallas before. And I think one thing that like we said to each other early on in our relationship was that wherever we find ourselves, we're going to live the very best life that we can. We're going to create the very best life that we can for ourselves and for our children. And so it's like, even though we had the house, like luckily for us, the way God had our journey, like we've already lived in multiple homes. So like the aspect of the house that we were in was a non-factor in whether or not we were going to move. Because for, you know, the few people that do know that we moved, I think a common thing we heard was like, I would never leave that property. I would never leave that house. Okay. Totally hear you. But here's the thing, our happiness and our fulfillment in life is more important than any singular piece of property. And so Daya literally woke up one morning because we had been considering like we were going to move back to San Antonio because we were going to go ahead and build out our property in San Antonio and move back there. We have a church in San Antonio that we absolutely love, and everyone there is like family. Shout out to Bethel Covenant Assembly of God. We totally love that church. If you're in the San Antonio area, you want to check it out. It's amazing for your kids, amazing for you. And we loved it there. Like everyone at that church is like our family member, and we just have such amazing relationships that came out of that era of our life. And so that was something like we were longing to get back to that, because our move to Houston was really driven by our job relocating us there, right? So we were actually very happy and comfortable in San Antonio. So that's something that we have been considering. I had actually started having conversations with an architect. Daya and I were having conversations with an architect. We had done like preliminary sketches for her on what we were wanting the layout to look like on this new property and whatnot. And so the whole thing was like this, knowing that we were expecting our third little baby just made us feel like we want to make sure we are living a fulfilled life and we're doing the things that God has called us to do, and we're not just like going through the motions of the day to day and doing the things that the world was telling us we needed to do. And so that's what really like awakened within us during that period. And so we began to ask ourselves questions of like, okay, where have we been the most happiest and the most fulfilled? And for us, like San Antonio was a big one on the picture, but Dallas was also a conversation because we both originally, you know, came from Dallas, and we also both have family in Dallas. San Antonio, we don't have family in San Antonio, but again, like I said, our church family in San Antonio, like literally the best thing that ever happened to us in our lives and in our walk together in life. So yeah, so we started to have those conversations. And so Daya wakes up one day, keep in mind we're already talking to the architect, we already started to draw up plans. And I think also we had a conversation, we were like, okay, drawing up these plans and all these things and interviewing builders and whatnot, because we're not there. So this is not a project that we were willing to physically take on ourselves, because, you know, we don't have a full-on crew in San Antonio like we did in Houston. And we don't, you know, with the situation of things, I'm expecting Dio is always hands-on, but definitely had to be even more hands-on with the two older kids. Like, it just wouldn't make sense for us to be able to manage that back and forth. So we needed to interview builders. We had started to do that. And it became evident to us that like this was going to be a 2-year process. Like, it was going to take at least a year to a year and a half to finish this custom home that we had in mind. because our whole thing was, if we were going to go back to San Antonio, then we wanted to use the property that we already owned, and we didn't want to have to start like buying a new property or looking for, you know, something, because like we love San Antonio, and like we were willing to, like, this is forever, like our forever home. And I think realizing that it was going to take 2 years to achieve that shifted things a little bit, because like we knew we needed a change immediately. Like the way that God laid it upon our heart, and it was really pressing upon us, was like we really wanted to be like surrounded by love when this baby came. Like we really wanted to be surrounded by love. We really wanted to, like, this next era of our life, with God giving us this additional surprise that we did not deserve. Like we just really wanted to be in a place where we were our most joyful and most excited to live out like this era of our life with our complete family. And so Dio wakes up one day, and one of our friends came to visit, and they had, you know, transitioned to Dallas like 2 years before, and he was like, let's do it, let's move to Dallas. And I was like, Dallas? What are you talking about? Like, we've had multiple architect appointments to start the property in San Antonio. What are you talking about? Like, what? And so, like, he just said, and he was like, yeah, that, you know, God has given him the direction that we need to go ahead and consider moving. You know, we need to go ahead and look into moving to Dallas, and that, you know, everything was going to be okay. And I thought about it, and I was like, okay, that's gonna be okay. Like, I was too pregnant to try to worry about anything. So I literally had to like put things on hold with the architect, which that lady, God bless her, because she was doing everything she could for us remotely. And I was like, okay, all right, we're gonna do this. And I remember just trying to think of how we were going to make it work, and beginning to feel overwhelmed again, because again, like, I'm pregnant. We had homeschooled Ore for pre-K. He was going to be going into kindergarten next year, and so we needed to make the decision: were we still going to homeschool? Was he going to be going into a physical school? And if that was the case, you know, all the things, like, we need to find a good school district, we need to be in a house. One thing that I did not want to do was like pick up the family and move all the way to Dallas, be in a rental, and then a few months again, I'm picking them up again and moving them again. Like, I did not want to do that. So I think a conversation that Daya and I had was like, if this is really, you know, we prayed to God, and if this was something that God wanted us to do, he would help us find a home that we would be comfortable in, and that it would be a good, that it would just be a great area and a good experience for us and our kids. Later that day, I essentially just sat down and I was like, okay, I'm at peace with this, because one thing I know is that if this is something that God wants me to do, it'll work out. So we started looking up houses, which, first of all, we need a whole video on the Dallas housing market, because this is insane. Like, it was crazy. We need a whole video on its own just for that. But we started looking, and we made a list of about like 10 houses that we saw that potentially would like fit the bill, because we were like, okay, we need at least 5 bedrooms. That was really the main thing. We wanted 5 bedrooms so the kids could have, you know, their room, we have our room, and, you know, we have one guest room for when either one of our family visits, because now we're going to be living in a city where like we actually have family. So we saw the homes on a Sunday, and we made a list, and we decided we were going to come to Dallas on a Wednesday based on how both of our schedules worked out. We came to Dallas, and y'all, first of all of these homes were grossly overpriced. I'm saying, like, we weren't seeing anything below like 800 and something. And a lot of those that were like 800 and something for new construction were like 3-bedroom homes. And we're like, okay, we need a 5-bedroom home. So there was just a lot going on. Baby's up. There's just a lot going on. So anyway, we eventually like make it down, and we go to all of these different locations with all of these different builders. There were some neighborhoods that we shortlisted. If you're considering moving to the DFW, leave a comment below. We can definitely help guide you.
What you doing without me, babe?
I'm telling them the story.
Hi, guys.
I'm telling them all the things.
Don't believe everything you hear. I'll tell you the real version.
All the things. So we came out here with our list of 10 houses, and I was like, okay, we're gonna find something out of this list of 10 houses. Y'all, at the end of the day, literally every builder that we went to, including the ones that were not on our list, they did not have any homes in inventory. The homes, the 10 homes that we came down that were on our list, all of them had been contracted. Keep in mind, we saw these on Sunday night, and intentionally, I only like wrote down things that had only been posted for like a day or two, because I knew the market like was doing crazy things. And this is like, so this, like what we're talking about now, we're at end of January, going into February of 2023. I'm like, interest rates are at an all-time high. Like interest rates were literally the highest they were, like they've been in the last few years during that time. Like, who is buying these homes? Why are there no homes available? So I'm going through all of these things and all of these thoughts, and I'm getting just like a little bit overwhelmed, because at this point I'm very, very pregnant. If we're going to make this move, we agreed that we would make the move, like we would go ahead and buy the house and make the move before the baby comes, but we were going to stay in Houston to have the baby. And the reason for that is, if we had stayed in our home to have our home in Houston to have our baby, we probably would, like, I didn't feel like I would have the capacity to get the move done. Like, you know how it is when you have a new baby and stuff is everywhere, you're just so busy. So I was like, the best way I'm gonna be able to manage this is like, with the 2 kids and pregnant, let's go ahead and get the house staged, get all that stuff, and you know, get the house on the market. And then if the house sold before the baby came, then we could do like a corporate lease or whatever until the baby came. I also had some stuff going on with pregnancy. I had gestational diabetes while pregnant, and my heart was doing crazy things. So it was really pertinent for me that I did not move away from my physician who had delivered all my other kids, and understood what was going on with this 3rd pregnancy, because this 3rd pregnancy was extremely hard on my body, and I experienced a lot of things medically that I did not experience with my other kiddos. Like, I'm literally gonna do, if y'all want to hear about the delivery, like, it was nothing short of a miracle. It was crazy. But so yeah, being able to like put our house on the market at the right time so that it would sell quickly, but also so that I still had enough energy to essentially do the things I needed to do to get it ready, was very essential to me. And if we were going to move, we wanted to do that before the school year started, so that the kids could begin to like acclimate to their new environment, make new friends, and be able to go to school like feeling comfortable in their new environment. So anyway, in Dallas, no houses. Even went to builders we weren't considering, went to neighborhoods we weren't originally considering. We went everywhere, and there was nothing. And everyone had a build time of like an average of a year. I think like with Toll Brothers and one of the other builders, it was like 18 to 24 months was what they were quoting. So we weren't even trying to go the custom route at all in Dallas. We weren't trying to do anything crazy. We just wanted to like get a house that had enough bedrooms, that was in a good school district, the school district that we both agreed on. And you know, that was our focus. So Yeah, we didn't find anything. Everything was under contract, everything was gone. And the things that we did find were either like 3 or 4 bedrooms. They were very, very tight. And for the price, it just did not make sense for us. That was not something we were willing to do. So we went back to Houston, and our mindset was just like, God, you put this in our hearts. If this is where you want us to be, you will work everything out. Like, I can't be worried about it. Like, we have so much going on at home. We can't be worried about it. So we came back, and Daya had a vacation plan for us. So we went to Mexico with the kids. That was in February. I'm due in May. So went to Mexico with the kids. And it was a great time. We had fun. I think we'll probably add some little pictures and videos for you guys to see. And then we came back. On the journey back, I started having contractions, by the way. And so that was, just part of the whole thing of like, the pregnancy was really taking a toll on my body. And I also needed to be careful in that regards of making sure that I was taking care of myself. So we came back, and we got word back from one of the builders. It was actually Dries Custom Homes. We got word back that I guess the contract had fallen through on one of the homes that was contracted when we came down. So they wanted to know if we were interested. Absolutely, we're interested. It had the right number of bedrooms. It was in a location that we liked. Okay, this is great. So Daya and I quickly, do our comps and whatnot, and we put an offer in on the house. And they declined our offer because they essentially were not willing to negotiate the asking price of the house down, which to me was crazy because like 18 months before, when this community opened up, their starting price was like in the high 6s. So if anything, when a lot of people finished their homes in the neighborhood, they probably ended up being in the 8s or something. And they were asking 1 point something for this house. And that was insane to me because I'm like, anyway, again, the Dallas housing market, it requires its own video. Yeah. So, long story short, negotiated back and forth. We got the house. We closed on the house remotely. Yeah. So that's the house that we're in now. Closed on the house remotely. There were a lot of things that were like missing in the house, and it was just, again, y'all. The Dallas housing market. If you're coming out to Dallas, if you're moving to Dallas and you're coming from Houston or even San Antonio, keep that in mind that you may spend the same amount of money, but what you're getting for that amount of money is significantly different. Like, you will get so much more in the Houston area for your price point than you will in the DFW. So we got the house, we closed remotely. So we closed on the house like end of March. And so with our house back home in Houston, like we're still in Houston. Hey, pretty girl.
Say hi? No,
Hey, pretty girl. Are you eating? So with our house back home in Houston, with our house back home in Houston, like that house was, we got it ready, we put it on the market, and as God would have it, like even before we put it on the market, it like went live on the market, there was interest on the house, and we had an offer like instantly, which was also a concern of ours because with the price point of the house, it's like, who is really spending that kind of money in this economy, especially with the interest rates being so high. But she's so cute. Yeah. So, but yeah, we had an offer. So what we ended up doing was like having movers come in, and now that puts us, so we closed on the Dallas house towards the end of March. Our house is already under contract in Houston by then, and the closing was supposed to be like end of April closing. Yeah. So when we got into April, the buyers needed to actually move the closing to May. And at this point, it was like, I'm so close to my due date. That's not what I wanted to do, but I just, you know. So I was so close to my due date. I wasn't excited that the buyers wanted to move the closing, but at this point, it was like, you know, whatever, let's just do it. So we moved the closing date because regardless, we were going to be in Houston until, you know, the house, you know, until we had the baby. Until we had the baby. So what we ended up doing was we planned everything to where like we were having some work done to this house, like adding cabinets and storage and building closets and whatnot. And so after we closed in March, we started having work done to this house in Dallas. And then our house in Houston, we had movers come in and pack up our stuff. And essentially the first week in May, we had the movers go ahead and move all of our stuff to Dallas. And poor Dio was like going back and forth and managing everything. And we had family staying with me in Houston. We had one of our cousins come stay with me, Dio's mom was also with me in Houston, just, you know, making sure that I was okay because, again, had some health stuff going on, and we have the 2 other little kiddos too, and yeah. So that was going on, and so after everything moved down to Dallas, Dio came down with the movers, and then he came back the next day, and I was due to have the baby like a few days later. So we essentially moved into a corporate lease, and we knew we were going to be in that corporate lease for anywhere from like a week to a month. Like we had booked it essentially for the month just in case. So had the baby, went into the corporate lease, and a few days into the corporate lease, I had to have the baby. So went, had the baby. She's perfect. She's beautiful. Had the baby, and after that, the closing for our house in Houston happened, and baby had a bit of a stay in NICU. If y'all want to hear about the delivery story, I feel like this has already been so, like, I feel like I've been talking for a long time, and I'm trying really hard not to put you guys to sleep, because I know it's hard to watch something where someone's just sitting down and talking to you the entire time. But I really, like, you guys have just shared so much with us. You send us messages, and we just really wanted to like catch you up on everything that's been going on in our lives, and also let you know where we've been, what's been going on, and that, yeah. So anyway, baby had a bit of a NICU stay. If you want to hear more about that, if you want to just hear about, you know, more about, you know, the pregnancy, the delivery, that whole shebang, you know, let us know in the comments and we'll make that video. Otherwise, we won't bore you with that story. We finally closed on the house, which was a little bit antsy because, again, the buyers moved the closing date like once or twice, and we were just glad that that was done. And so baby came home, and we were all just so excited because baby being in NICU and everything else that was going on, I was an emotional mess. I struggled emotionally, and I'm just so glad that I had so much love and support around me. My brother came down from Dallas, my sister came down from Dallas to Houston. Again, we had a cousin that was staying with us that came, and it was great. And it was funny because like we were all in this really, really small corporate lease. It was like a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, but there was just so much love, and everyone was just so happy, and it was good. It was good. So baby came back home from NICU. I was excited. She went to her couple of days checkup, you know, after she came home, and everything was good. And then we waited and we did her 2-week checkup, and everything was good. And then we got the U-Haul, got all the things that we had in the corporate lease, which was, believe it or not, it was a lot. Like the U-Haul was packed. And we got a Suburban. That was my birthday present that year. Last year was a Suburban because, you know, with the new kid, now we had like 3 kids and car seats and booster seats, and yeah. Anyway, like everything was full to the brim, and we got in the car, and on the way, we literally stopped in Conroe at the birth certificate office there. We got baby girl's birth certificate. And then we came on down. We came down to Dallas. Remember, we were doing some work to our house. So we were doing some work to the new house we got because, again, there wasn't enough storage. Like the closets weren't fully built out. Like I said, what you get for your money in Dallas versus what you get for your money in Houston and San Antonio are different things. Yeah. And to be fair, also, we didn't build this house, so there were little things here and there that we would like. Like for us, it was essential because we both work from home to actually have cabinetry and have the study built out a certain way so that we can both function in there and be able to work and things, and the kids can have room. So it was just stuff like that. Long story short, all of that work that was supposed to have been done before we got here was not done. So we ended up staying with my brother-in-law for a few days. And we literally, like, again, they are built different in Dallas. These trades out here, like, I'm paying you and then like you don't want to show up. Or like, it's just, it's different. Yeah, they're built differently out here in Dallas. That's all I can say. So the work wasn't done. The trim carpenter was still working. The painter was still working. The painter was blaming the trim carpenter. The trim carpenter was blaming the painter. We were trying to get maid service in because we have this new baby. We want to make sure everything is perfectly clean. And it was just a lot. So it took a couple of days to get these last few things coordinated. And then we were finally in our home, and it was just like it felt like I could breathe for the first time. And like, since having the baby, like I was just tired and exhausted and emotionally and physically drained, but also grateful. But like once we got here, like there was a level of, okay, we're here. And then like once we actually got into our home, it was just like, we're good. Like everything's gonna be okay. Like the house was chaos. There were things all over the place. Everything was in boxes, but like we were gonna be fine. So came in that first day, and we had family come visit. They brought us food. My best friend, like everyone was just so loving and supportive, and it was amazing. That just allowed us to be able to settle in that much quicker. So I don't know, if you have something in mind, like God's telling you you need to be somewhere and you're considering it, this may be your sign. Because I will say, even though Dallas was not on my radar of places that I thought I would be moving to, it was good. It was a good transition for us. So spent the next couple of months unpacking. We're officially a year in now, and we're still unpacking. But yeah, I'm gonna have to make a video on like the Dallas real estate and the things, because like, again, what you get for your money is, yeah. If you just want like the biggest bang for your buck, then DFW, yeah, Dallas may not be it. Maybe Fort Worth, but Dallas may not be it. Like Houston, like our real estate and what we've got going on is top notch for the money that people are spending. Like, believe me when I tell you that. Same thing, I'll be willing to say that about San Antonio too, because what you spend out here in Dallas, yeah. And for those of you watching this video and live in Dallas, you probably know that if you're in the housing market looking for something, you know, to transition to, you've probably experienced some of what I'm talking about. But so yeah, we got all settled into the home. The kids started school. They had a great school year. I got to do all the PTO mom things and do all the things, and I loved it. And so we're here now. Like, that is where we've been, literally, is transitioning our entire life because we had been in Houston well, we've been away from the DFW for about 10 years, but we have been in Houston for 7 years of that. And so, you know, it was a big move, it was a big transition, and with this new beautiful addition that really just like made us open our eyes and say, you know, are we happy where we are? And, you know, is there somewhere else that we want to be? Is there something else that we want to explore? And, you know, that just opened our eyes. And I will say, you know, very grateful to God, because the reason we had the opportunity to do that is because we both work remotely. We wouldn't have been able to do that if someone, you know, had to go into work every day. That would have been very difficult to do. So definitely very grateful for that transition. But yeah, so many things have happened, but those are the big things. And yeah, for those of you that are new here and you've not seen any of our other videos, please go back. You want to check out our empty house tour, you want to check out some of our home decor videos. But we are in this home now, and I'm super excited.